Can we agree, to start with, that the one thing that voters deserve in what you yourself have said is going to be a very, very important election is no sound bites?
Well, it is absolutely crucial, because this is, I think, the most important election that this country has faced in my lifetime, that when people look at this election and when they hear what the politicians are saying, they think about the national interest. That should be what drives people when they go to vote.
But no slogans. We can agree for the next 23
minutes. Now, come on, Andrew, you know that we will all be talking, as we go through this election, every party will be talking about what they think is important. I'll be talking about
strong and stable leadership.
Well, I'll be talking, and there's a reason for talking about strong and stable leadership and having a strong and stable government. It's precisely because this is the most important election the country has faced in my lifetime. It's about the future of the country. It's about the national interest.
Nothing fundamental has changed, except the opinion polls, which put you in the lead. So it is pragmatic, cynical self-interest.
No, this is about what is going to be in the best long-term interests of this country. When I became Prime Minister last year, I believe that what was necessary was stability for the country, and that we ensured that the government was putting into place the decision that had been taken by the public when they voted to leave the European Union. Now, we have done that. We've provided that stability over the last 9 months. We've triggered Article 50. The process of leaving the European Union has started. There is no turning back. We will be leaving the EU. But it became clear while we were doing that the other parties, the other political parties, they threatened to vote against the legislation that would enable us to leave the EU, to vote against the final deal. And what became clear is that although people in the country have united and recognised the need to take the country forward, actually there are divisions here in Westminster. And I've come to the view, reluctantly, that the only way, against that background, to ensure that we can provide certainty and stability in the years ahead is to have an election now, and for me to ask the public for the support that I need for the decisions that have to be taken.
Prime Minister, welcome to Plymouth.
Thank you.
We're in one of the most marginal seats in the country here. This is your second visit of the campaign. Are you getting nervous, and do you see Plymouth as a must-win next week?
No, I'm very clear that this is a crucial election for this country. We stand at an important moment. We need to ensure we get the Brexit negotiations right, but also have a plan to take this country forward, to build a stronger, more prosperous future for Plymouth, for families here and across the whole of the United Kingdom. And so I'm going out and about around the whole country, talking to people with that very clear message that they face a choice on the 8th of June.
It's just that people can listen to that kind of thing and think it's a bit robotic.
No, when I talk about leadership, when I talk about the strength of the government for the future, I do it for a reason, and the reason is this. We are facing a moment of change in this country. We're facing a moment when we have the opportunity to take this country forward, to make it an even better place to live for people, for their futures, a more secure future for people. But part of that, part of doing that, is about getting the Brexit negotiations right. And it's important when we go into those negotiations, and we've already seen some of the comments that have been coming out of Brussels, which show that at times these negotiations are going to be tough. So in order to make sure that we get the right result, the best deal for this country, the deal that's going to work for people across the whole of this country, we need to ensure that we've got a strong hand in that negotiation.
In what ways will Britain be a better country for leaving the European Union?
Well, you're absolutely right, Andrew, that this is a historic moment for our country. We're putting into place now the decision that was taken in the referendum of the 23rd of June last year to leave the European Union. And the formal process has begun. I've written to, as they say, invoke this Article 50 that people will have heard about, which starts the process of formal negotiations. As we look ahead to the outcome of those negotiations, I believe that we should be optimistic as a country about what we can achieve. I think when people voted last June, what they voted for was for us to be in control of our borders, in control of our laws. But I think people also voted for change in the country. And that's why, alongside the work that we're doing on Brexit, I'm clear that the government has a plan for Britain to build a more outward-looking country, a stronger economy where everyone plays by the same rules, fairer society where success is based on merit but not on privilege, and to ensure we're a more united nation and somewhere that children and grandchildren can be proud to call home.
A lot of people in Plymouth voted for Brexit because they saw a better future ahead. How will your Brexit plan make Plymouth people better off?
Well, I think there is a better future ahead for Plymouth and for the whole of the UK. There are opportunities when we leave the European Union, but we need to have the right government in place, the right plan to grasp those opportunities. We need to get Brexit right. Just 11 days after the general election, we'll start those Brexit negotiations. I'm the Prime Minister, I'm the party leader with a plan for those negotiations. But it's about more than this. It's about building that prosperous future for families here in Plymouth and around the whole of the country. And I'm confident we can do that. I've got a plan for a stronger Britain. I'm confident we can build that stronger economy with better opportunities for young people, better opportunities for families. And I'm optimistic about that because I believe in Britain and I believe in the British people.
Just at a philosophical level, you said you went into politics to help the just about managing. How is enabling rich people to pass on wealth to the next generation helping the just about managing?
What is helping is ensuring that we don't have a long-term solution for our social...
No, my question was how it helped the just about managing.
And I'm answering your question,
You're not.
Jeremy. You have asked me about the just about managing and how they're being helped. And what I'm going to point out is that if you have a social care system which relies on taxing those just about managing at higher levels, that's not helping them. What we're doing is putting forward a proposal which means that people don't have to sell their house in their lifetime to pay for care. It means they can pass on savings to their children, and it means there will be that cap. But it's fair across the generations. And there are older people today who worry that their children and grandchildren won't have a better future. What we wanted to have was a system that was fair to taxpayers, that was fair to all generations, and that's what we're doing. And crucially, the principles...
Prime Minister, your manifesto rejects a cap. It gives a reason why you don't want a cap. Now you're going to have a cap. You need to be honest, I would suggest, and tell the British people you've changed your mind.
What I'm doing, first of all, Andrew, I'm being absolutely honest with the British people about the big challenge that we face, and absolutely honest with them about the need for us to deal with this now, to start fixing it now.
Plymouth's a very proud armed forces city. We're seeing the closure of our naval barracks, the sale of HMS Ocean, 42 Commando taken out of service. Can you guarantee our armed forces families that they will be protected from further cuts?
I'm very clear that Plymouth has a proud record of connection with the armed forces. And when I was last here in Plymouth earlier in the campaign, I was able to sit down with some members of the armed forces and talk to them about the issues that matter to them. And what became very clear was about the importance of Plymouth too. But what I want to do, what we will do as a government, is ensuring that we're giving more help to our armed forces and we're supporting them. Last week I was at NATO talking about UK defence and how we can work with others to ensure we defend our country. But our armed forces have a worldwide reputation. We will maintain our armed forces and we will support them in all that they do. Politics is not a game, and the problem is, at the moment, we have other parties who are playing games with politics. I want to ensure that we can get on with the job of delivering on Brexit, making Brexit a success. I think the games that are being played by other parties jeopardise our ability to prepare for Brexit here at home, and they weaken our negotiating hand with Europe. I want us to have the strongest possible hand for negotiating with the European Union because I want to get the best possible deal for Britain. I want Brexit to be a real success for this country. We will look at our rights and obligations.
Have you got a figure in your head as to how much it's worth paying to get out of this club?
It isn't a question of what it's worth paying to get out. It's a question of what is going to be the right deal for us to leaving the European Union, which will stop us from paying huge sums of money into the EU every single year, which will enable that we have control of our money and our borders and our laws.
But you wouldn't walk out, as David Davis says he would, if there was a request for £100 billion. You wouldn't walk out there.
We will be there to negotiate the right deal, but what I have said is no deal is better than a bad deal. We have to be prepared to walk out.
So you are prepared to walk away from the European Union with no deal?
No deal is better than a bad deal. And let me just tell you...
That wasn't exactly my question.
Yes,
my question was, are you prepared to walk away...
by definition, if I'm prepared to say that no deal is better than a bad deal, I want to get a good deal from the European Union. What I don't want is the sort of bad deal that some people are talking about. If you think about it, some people in Europe are talking about punishing us, and that would be a bad deal for us. Some people here in the UK talk as if they're willing to do anything to sign up to a deal with the European Union, and that would be a bad deal for us as well.
So
we need to negotiate and negotiate hard.
to leave the European Union with no deal?
As I say, no deal would be better than a bad deal.
You are prepared to leave the European Union with no deal?
I think you can take it, Jeremy. No deal would be better than a bad deal.
Yes, you said that repeatedly.
Yes.
Prime Minister, thank you.
Thank you.